Now, we moved to a gig economy a long time ago. We use this phrase now, I use it, where instead of having a job, you have a gig. You get paid for your gig, maybe you have multiple gigs, but that's what used to be the reality for a very long time. The reality was that people were maybe blacksmiths or they were textile workers, but they worked on a project basis, they got paid for that, they moved on. They didn't have jobs. We moved to the concept of the job much more recently when factories came about, Industrial Revolution days. And at that point, it just became much more efficient to have everybody in one place doing the work because that's where the machines were. And that's why we came up to this idea of a job. It just was more efficient to have everyone where you could see them. Coase was wondering why we had firms. Why does it make sense to keep paying everybody every week when, maybe you should just get them when you need them? And what he came up with was that the transactions costs were much lower if you had everybody in one place, because it cost too much to call them up as you needed them. Well, look, we've changed the transactions cost. Now you have a phone, you can get the work done immediately. There are three forces at work changing the nature of work. And they are ones we've talked about for a long period of time. Demographics is up there, global markets, global economic changes, incredibly key, and as well technology. But it's not a story about robots taking our jobs. It's not a story about China taking our jobs. It's not a story about everyone's too old to work. It's about a lot of things happening at the same time. We will be doing jobs that haven't been invented yet. And you will be recruiting for jobs that haven't been invented yet. Who would have thought that a YouTube star would be a very high-paying position right now? But it is, right? And it's not a job you have with a company. A beauty influencer, that's huge. People who are on YouTube talking about new kinds of mascaras are making a ton of money. And they are totally superseding advertising elsewhere. It used to be you hired a star to go on TV and do a commercial and talk about the mascara. Now you just hire somebody you never heard of to say she likes it, and you have hundreds of thousands of people saying, oh, I'm going to try that. Completely changed everything. So the jobs have already evolved, and they're going to evolve a lot more. We have things we haven't even talked about or thought about or imagined yet. But we're getting to this point where everything has to be on the table, and we have to figure out the reality we have, both as an economy and as individual companies and as individuals, because there's more at stake than just the companies here. We could have this horrible, horrible future where there's tons of displacement and unemployment and disengagement, and it's not going to work for us at all, because we know what happens when we have social unrest. Not necessarily the outcomes you want. So that's something you maybe have some power to help avoid.